At first glance, the photos recently released by the U.S. Marine Corps depicting a 5th-generation F-35B landing may seem ordinary. However, a closer look reveals that this isn't just any military runway. The Lightning II is touching down on a mere 50-foot-wide highway in Southern California. This is in preparation for potential conflict in the Indo-Pacific. The vast seas dividing the region and limited airfields capable of accommodating the U.S.'s advanced warplanes, the ability to land fighters on remote highways for refueling and rearming could provide a significant advantage in any Pacific confrontation with China. Given the extensive territorial assets and numerous bases at the People's Liberation Army Air Force's disposal, they hold a decisive edge in projecting aerial dominance over the Pacific. Yet, if these stunning images are any indication, the F-35B may soon be able to operate from even the slenderest roads on the Pacific's most isolated islands, a capability that could dramatically alter the dynamics of the looming conflict. Combat aircraft are intricately engineered machines requiring robust infrastructure. A pivotal element in this setup is the runway. The dependency on expansive runways has historically imposed constraints on the utilization of these aircraft in warfare. Traditional imagery of military air bases often features vast runways, essential for fixed-wing combat aircraft like fighters and bombers to take off and land. Consequently, combat operations were anchored to established air bases, often distanced from frontline conflict. This geographical limitation translated into slower response times, reduced sortie rates, and a potential disadvantage in intense aerial face-offs. If not for the need for well-established runways and the limited range of operations of most combat aircraft, the Pacific theater of World War II might have played out very differently. As history shows, the Allies waged battles island by island, securing territories to establish the necessary runways and project their aerial might. However, the challenges posed by traditional airfields aren't solely operational. Their vulnerability stands starkly apparent. With their broad layouts, large airbases became conspicuous targets. In a time marked by precision-guided munitions and extended-range missiles, these vast runways transformed into liabilities, prime bullseyes for adversaries to incapacitate a fleet. Over the decades, global militaries have been fervently pursuing means to circumvent these drawbacks. At one point, the limelight shifted to vertical takeoff and landing, or VTOL aircraft, which were revolutionary in eliminating the requirement for lengthy runways. These aircraft could ascend from compact spaces and even naval vessels' decks. Concurrently, innovations sought aircraft compatible with unpaved runways, transforming challenging terrains into potential airstrips and revolutionizing aerial warfare. Parallel to these technological marvels, the concept of the mobile airbase began gaining traction, outlining an airbase that could be assembled and disassembled at will, offering unpredictability against enemy targeting. Drawing from such innovations, the Cold War witnessed the advent of programs like the Swedish Bas 90. This initiative championed force dispersal across numerous wartime bases and within individual bases. Pioneers like the Saab JAS-39 Gripen under this program showcased their prowess, effortlessly landing and taking off from Europe's narrowest byways. The transformation was evident. Warplanes, once confined to large runways, now had the versatility to land on civilian roads, and mobile logistics systems ensured they remained battle-ready. In contrast to countries like Sweden, which have adopted dispersed airbase systems, the U.S. traditionally prioritized developing and maintaining numerous established airbases at home and abroad. This was a testament to its global power projection strategy. However, the geopolitical landscape is shifting rapidly. Escalating tensions in the Indo-Pacific and the intensifying dispute over Taiwan threaten to spark an unparalleled conflict between the U.S. and China, the world's premier military juggernauts. China wields a strategic advantage with its numerous coastal airbases and a comprehensive A2AD, or anti-access area denial strategy. This includes long-range missiles, cutting-edge air defenses, and other sophisticated mechanisms geared toward deterring adversaries from entering its territorial waters. The U.S. faces challenges despite maintaining pivotal airbases in Guam, Japan, and South Korea. These bases might be inadequate to thwart China's air dominance and are notably susceptible to missile attacks. Acknowledging this evolving threat, the U.S. military is delving into distributed operations, with the Marine Corps and Navy at the forefront. The essence of this strategy is the dispersion of forces over a broader expanse, complicating an adversary's targeting assessment. Executing this would require operations in isolated, underdeveloped areas and establishing systems akin to BOS-90. These would facilitate the deployment and resupply of state-of-the-art warplanes from highways and byways scattered across various islands. Adopting this innovative strategy becomes indispensable for the U.S. to successfully navigate and potentially triumph in any Indo-Pacific conflict. It may just be the key to counterbalancing China's substantial upper hand in the region. As the shadow of conflict with China deepens, the ability of advanced U.S. warplanes to touch down on isolated roadways has surged to the forefront of strategic concerns, especially for the Navy and Marine Corps. Recently, footage showcased the U.S. Marine Corps deploying awe-inspiring military tactics destined to mold the future of warfare. In the isolated stretches of Southern California, an F-35B fighter jet deftly descended onto a time-worn, narrow highway. It was refueled, rearmed, and catapulted back into the sky in mere moments. Soon after, a Marine MV-22 Osprey and a Navy helicopter choreographed an aerial handoff of a torpedo with balletic precision, showcasing the flawless integration of varied military powerhouses. This dramatic display unveiled a glimpse into the Marine Corps' evolving strategy for Pacific operations. Amid shifting global currents, the U.S. Marine Corps acknowledges the imperative to ready themselves for looming challenges in the Indo-Pacific. Such preparedness demands cutting-edge machinery, robust synergies across military divisions, and adaptability to function in even the most unforgiving landscapes. At the core of this exercise was the Obsidian Iceberg, a visionary initiative from the Operational Test and Evaluation Squadron 1. The event was a rigorous test for the F-35B, proving its mettle by operating seamlessly in remote spots with scant logistical support. The choice of training site was no less challenging. A segment of the aged Pacific Coast Highway, strewn with power lines, ditches, and even adjacent train tracks, was swiftly metamorphosed into a makeshift military operations hub. The F-35B's unique capability to perform vertical takeoff and landing makes it an unparalleled choice for testing conventional landings on small, remote roads. In contexts where conventional runways are unavailable, the adaptability of the F-35B's VTOL system grants it a distinct advantage. Most critically, in the event of complications during the landing sequence on such challenging terrains, the aircraft can harness its VTOL capabilities to quickly ascend or make adjustments, potentially averting disaster. These maneuvers are dress rehearsals. They simulate how U.S. aircraft can engage with remote civilian roads and illuminate how the Marines and Navy must be primed to instantaneously transform isolated areas into makeshift airbases, and just as swiftly dismantle them to evade enemy targeting. Making use of the numerous small, undeveloped, and isolated islands in the Pacific, and being able to swiftly turn them into aerial bases from which to launch and land advanced military aircraft will be a crucial capability for the U.S. Navy and Marine Corps if they find themselves having to wage war in the region. With escalating tensions in the Indo-Pacific, this strategic pivot signifies the United States' unyielding resolve to transcend traditional barriers and counter adversaries head-on. The confluence of innovation, strategy, and vision could potentially reshape the blueprints of global military confrontations in the years ahead.